Millions of Americans are waiting for some additional resources, like money. And well, many people are asking, are we going to get a $600 stimulus check? Are we going to receive that anytime soon? That's exactly what Larry Kudlow just asked the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, yesterday. But listen to what he had to say. Listen to this.
You have this tariff revenue surplus. As I say, it could be $300 billion for calendar year 2025. How about returning it to the taxpayers? What do you think of that, Speaker Johnson?
Well, there's a school of thought that says that's the best way to do it, but
So he says there's a school of thought that that's the best way to do it. We have a surplus of tariff revenue. Why don't we take that money and give it back to the American people? The people that have been paying these tariffs for the past several months. Well, look at this, okay? It says right here, our $600 tariff rebate checks headed our way. Well, it says right here, Congress is weighing a bill that would send Americans hundreds of dollars in the form of a tariff rebate check, similar to the pandemic stimulus checks, in potential efforts to soften the financial blow of the administration's new tariffs. Tariffs have been hurting many families. Now, it's going to be great in the future because the United States is going to have some more money to pay down our debt. Interest will be a lot lower. Will put us in a great situation. But in the meantime, and again, this is what's happening. This is the reason for it. It wasn't to put all these billions of dollars into the U.S. coffers. No, it was to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And what we've heard from so many different companies, they are going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Okay? Meta, going to bring more manufacturing here to the United States. More jobs right here to the U.S. They're going to invest. Nvidia, same thing. Apple, same thing. These big companies are going to invest in the United States. That's what President Trump wanted. If we have more people that are manufacturing and bringing businesses back to the U.S., that also means more jobs. More jobs means a more stable economy, means more growth, more tax dollars, more Social Security revenue. So bringing manufacturing back to the United States is a key piece. Let's keep reading this. It says the current version of the bill, and this is from, we saw this bill about a month ago. It says the current version of the bill promises at least $600 for every adult and dependent child. For example, if you're a family of four, you'd get $240 or $2,400. The amount would phase out for married couples making over $150,000 per year. Okay, but there's discussions. Okay. There's discussions. This is from Senator Josh Hawley. He's the one that put this out there, and he feels that he has the support. Okay, he has the support. But look at this. This is where things are getting interesting. It says right here, New York will soon send its first ever inflation refund checks to taxpayers. What we have learned, and we learned this many months ago, that New York State is going to be sending checks to about 8 million people. Look at this right here. It says New York Governor Kathy Hochul first announced the program in May. The one-time payment aims to provide financial relief from higher sales taxes due to inflation. This is exactly what we've been discussing. That when you raise the price of goods, it means there's more money that's going into the state due to sales tax. Because sales tax is a percentage of the item sold. So the higher the cost of the item sold, the more sales tax comes in. Well, they want to give some of this money back to the state residents. But this money's going to start coming out. I want to keep reading this. It says more than 8 million New Yorkers will receive refunds. According to the state, payments will be mailed starting at the end of September. That's coming up. Okay? It says right here, eligibility is based on filing details from tax year 2023. Those Those who qualify filed Form IT-201 as a state resident have reported income within the qualifying thresholds and were not claimed as dependent on another person's return. The refund payments range from $150 to $400. The exact amount paid will depend on the taxpayer's filing status and their adjusted gross income for that year. Okay, you can kind of see down here what it's going to look like based off your single, married filing separately, head of household, or qualifying surviving spouse and your income. Now, probably thinking, well, $150 to $400 is not a lot of money. That's not going to do much. It's not. It's going to do a little bit. Okay, it's going to help some people. But here's the thing. The federal government's going to look at this. Is this helping the state of New York? If it's not, the federal government's pretty much just going to do away with any idea of an inflation rebate check. Okay, keep that in mind. They don't want to send out a $600 inflation rebate check or a tax or tariff rebate check if it's only going to cause more inflation and only going to hurt the U.S. economy even more. But the key here is we are bringing in so much tariff revenue that we may not pay down all the debt, all the U.S. debt. We may not do that to start. We may pay down some, and some believe that there is a lot of support for giving some of that back to the American people. Now, I'm going to play the rest of this clip for you in just a moment. In this clip, we're going to hear what Speaker Mike Johnson has to say. But here's the key here, and this is what's very important, is that right now there's question whether or not these tariffs, these reciprocal tariffs that President Trump put in place, there's questions whether or not these are legal. And it has been taken to the Supreme Court. However, the Supreme Court's going to start to review this, going to discuss it in November. So we got a little bit over a month when they discuss it. Here's the issue. The Supreme Court is going to hear it in November. They take between 3 to 6 months to reach a decision and actually say something. So if it happens in November, you got December, January, February, that's the earliest, okay? So potentially February to May is when we're going to get an answer. This could go all the way to next summer. We could continue to rack up all this money, bring in all this tariff revenue, and then at the end of it, they could say, yeah, that was illegal. We have to send that back. And then does it go back to the importers on record? Or does it go back to manufacturers? Does it go back to the American people? Who does it go to? That's the big question. Let's keep listening to this video, though.
We've also got to manage the national debt. We need to pay that down as well. You and I both know it's a big national security threat to us right now. And we're looking to be responsible and good stewards of that taxpayer funding, and we can use that tariff revenue in a number of ways. But we're going through that. That's part of the process. Part of our small d democratic process is to have those debates and arguments, and ultimately we'll do the right thing. He
says ultimately we'll do the right thing, okay? But listen to this. This is key right here.
Trying to keep steady hands on the wheel in the Congress to allow the president to keep doing and advancing these policies, and it is working for the American people. And that's why, Larry, I'm very bullish about the midterm elections coming up in 2026, because people are going to feel the positive effects of all these pro-growth policies. Everything we did in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working families tax cuts, and all the rest, we're doing right by the people. We're fulfilling our promises, and they'll feel that, and I think they'll reward it.
Here's what I got from this. And I've talked to many people, some of which are close to not Speaker Johnson, but close to lawmakers. And one person said that there's a plan in place to win more seats in the upcoming midterm election. Just think about this. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. Let me know your thoughts. But what if President Trump is able to secure all this tariff revenue and pretty much just hold on to it? And then when the time's right before the upcoming midterm election, goes and disperses that money back into the economy. Goes and gives it to people that are struggling. Gives it to single families. Gives it to the elderly. Gives it to veterans. What happens then? Well, If that's money that's just been sitting there, you're not using it yet. We go and give it back to the American people right before a midterm election. Guess what's likely going to happen? All those people you just gave it to, no matter who they were voting for before, there's a very good chance they will flip to Republican. That is what many people believe, is that that's what President Trump is setting us up for. That he's taxing us a little bit here and there, going to hold on to that money, make it grow, just like when the federal government invested into Intel, okay? They invested into a company, and then that company shot up in price. I think the United States invested like $5 billion. As of the other day, it's like $14 billion is what it is. That investment is less than a month old. How crazy is that? So if the Trump administration can take some of that money, put it into an investment into potentially a company, right? Pay down some of our debt, could he return some of that money? We're going to have to wait and see. But again, it's interesting what's happening at this time, but I wanted to share this with you. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think we are going to get a tariff or inflation rebate check anytime soon? Let me know down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.